Today I will tell you one of the most powerful serial killer stories in the United Kingdom. There were terrifying murders that shook the United Kingdom. A serial killer walks behind his prey, kills him and robs him at the right time. This is a serial killer who robbed more than 500 homes, and despite all these crimes, he appears on TV shows and participates in competitions. The story of John William. Most killers in the world have logical motives for committing a crime. However, serial killers commit their crimes for trivial reasons or even without any reason. In one of the villages of Wales, which is part of the United Kingdom, in the 80s, horrific murders shook the entire village. John William Cooper is one of the most dangerous serial killers in the history of the United Kingdom, and he committed horrific crimes that left a deep impact on society. He was born in 1944 in the United States, and lived a life that seemed normal at first, but behind this facade his dark personality was slowly forming. The events of his story vary between success and failure, between normal life and heinous crimes, making it an exciting and complex story. John grew up in a quiet rural environment, where his family lived a simple life. He had loving parents, but the features of his personality began to emerge early. He had average intelligence, but he tended to isolation. After graduating from school, he began working in agriculture and settled in a small village. He married at a young age and had 2 sons, and was thought to be living a normal and prosperous life. Despite his stable family life, John had problems with gambling and alcohol. These habits began to negatively affect his marital life, causing tension in his relationships with his wife and children. Little did he realize that these habits would eventually lead him down a dark criminal path. There were also signs of aggressive behavior, but they were not obvious enough to cause concern to those around him. In December 1985, John decided to commit his first horrific crime. After observing a wealthy couple, Richard and Helen, he broke into their home on a winter night. He used a firearm to threaten them, and shot them after they resisted. He then set the house on fire to hide the traces of his crime. This crime marked the beginning of his criminal career, however investigators were unable to link him to the crime due to lack of evidence. Despite the horrific nature of Richard and Helen's crime, the police were unable to identify the perpetrator. John continued his daily life, claiming innocence, but anxiety began to creep into his heart. The investigations were ongoing, but he had managed to escape punishment at this point, which encouraged him to continue his criminal lifestyle. 2 years after Richard and Helen's crime, John heard about a popular quiz show. He decided to enter the competition, where he showed off his skills in games and challenges. However, he ultimately lost, which increased his frustration and loss of control. Instead of learning from his failure, he decided to return to his recurring criminal lifestyle. In 1989, John targeted another couple, Peter and Gwenda Dixon, while they were camping near the coast. He approached them with a firearm, threatening to kill them if they did not hand over their money. He obtained their credit card and PIN code, but was not satisfied with that. He shot them after tying their hands, killing them in a brutal manner. This crime was more bloody, as he used his weapon randomly and without hesitation. In 1996, John attempted to attack a group of students who were hiking in the woods. However, one of the girls managed to escape and contact the police, leading to his arrest. During this time, the police found a number of stolen items that he had kept in his home, including burglary tools and the victim's belongings. This discovery increased suspicions about his involvement in the previous crimes. Years after his arrest, the police began to re-evaluate the old cases. A glove containing John's DNA was discovered near the crime scenes, providing conclusive evidence of his involvement. A pair of pants stained with the blood of one of the victims was also found, confirming suspicions about his identity as a serial killer. After every crime he committed, he disposed of his gloves near the crime scene. When the lab tested the gloves, they found traces of John's DNA. Not only that, when the investigators searched John's house, they found a pair of pants with a bloodstain on them. The pants he took from Peter's bag. When the lab tested the blood on the pants, it was a perfect match with the victim Peter's blood. This was the conclusive evidence to convict John of the crime. And they didn't stop there. The gun that John got rid of while trying to kill the school. They also discovered that John had painted the gun black. When they removed the paint, it had bloodstains on it. When they tested this blood, it also matched the blood of the victim Peter. In addition to all this evidence, when the police found out that John participated in the game show in 1987, they decided to watch the episode out of curiosity. The disaster happened. While using the late Peter's credit card, the surveillance camera captured him. The investigators drew a picture of the person who was using the card. He was wearing the same pants as the victim Peter. When he compared the picture to John during his presence in the game show, the resemblance was dangerous and clear that this is the same person, but until all the evidence was confirmed, John was free, because his sentence was reduced from 16 years to 10 years. But that did not stop the investigators. He was arrested again while he was on the street. When the investigators began interrogating him, they told him about all the evidence they had on him, and about all the DNA tests, but he insisted that he was innocent. But they gave him a picture of the pants that were in his house. They asked him, "Are these your pants?" He told them that if you saw them in my house, they were mine. And in this way, he humiliated himself and confessed. When John Cooper's trial began, the investigators gathered witnesses from the neighbors and others. Among them was John's grandson, who talked about the horrible and painful things that his father did to him. He told them that one day he got upset with me for something trivial, so he grabbed the gun and charged at me. He told me that if I do it again, I will kill him. This was just a small part of the suffering I suffered from my father. I basically knew that my father used to leave the house and go to the forest, but I couldn't confront him about anything because he would simply kill me. After collecting all this evidence that confirmed John's involvement in killing innocent people, he was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison. Here we have reached the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.